I just want to start by thanking all of you, thanking our international friends for the tremendous level of support and solidarity that we have witnessed over the past several days. We've been really touched, we've been really overwhelmed by the messages of support, concrete offers of help, the funding that we are receiving. We are incredibly grateful to all of you. And I think it's a testament of the enduringly strong relationships that exist between Sri Lanka and all of your countries and agencies, that whenever moments like this have come up in our country, we've never felt isolated. We've never felt that we are without friends and support. So we are incredibly grateful once again to all of you. So I just want to start by thanking all of you for the support that has already been extended and the support that is continuing to come our way. I know that several countries have already pledged support in various ways, whether it's through funding, whether it's through personnel or equipment, and these are arriving on a daily basis. So thank you so much for all of this. So we just want to go through a few items today. One is we want to clarify again that the emergency regulations are of a very limited nature, simply to deal with the disaster situation. Actually, the declaration of emergency also came after a discussion with all the members of parliament, including the leader of the opposition and members of the opposition who were very strongly of the view that an emergency should be declared, and it was during that meeting that the president agreed to declare emergency. And we do not intend in any way to use emergency regulations for anything other than coordinating essential services and ensuring that relief and recovery efforts are carried out efficiently. So I just want to reaffirm that and make that very, very clear. We will be doing a briefing on the tourism situation, making a statement and giving you more information on the tourism sector. But here again, we just want to thank many tourists and many event managers who continue to come to Sri Lanka and to hold events. Several have stated that as a measure of support also, that even events that have taken place this week, they chose not to cancel, but they chose to continue with them as a measure of support and solidarity. We are extremely grateful for that as well. We also want to point out very thankfully that not a single tourist has been harmed during the devastation. Those who were in places that were at risk or under threat were rescued successfully, and we are very grateful to the armed forces and the police for the cooperation that they extended, so that we were able to make sure that all tourists who were in the country during that period were rescued safely and brought to places of safety. So our rescue operations are almost completed. The last few areas that were inaccessible in the Nuwara district are also now accessible, and we have been able to airlift food, water to places where the roads have not been functional, but we've reached everywhere now, and cleaning up operations are underway. Of course, the areas that were mainly hit by flooding, this is easier. It's merely a cleanup operation. I mean, it's a massive cleanup, but the cleanup operation is relatively easier than in areas that have been affected by landslides. This is where the challenge is, because in flood-affected areas, we have been able to start moving people back to their homes, or people are returning back to their homes once the homes are cleaned up. But in the areas that have been affected by landslides, this is a little more complicated. We cannot allow people to go back unless there is a green light given to us from NBRO, and that those places and sites are safe for people to return. So there's going to be, in addition to rebuilding homes and resettlement, We are also going to, we will also be requiring temporary housing in many of these areas, because people won't be able to move back directly to their homes until we declare them safe. Being able to restore public utilities, water and electricity in many areas are now restored. Communication has been restored. There are still, in Kandy, Nuwara and Badulla, there are still areas where we have not been able to fully recover power or water. Communication has been largely restored in most of the affected areas as well. So those are going to be the challenges that we face in the coming weeks and months. The massive infrastructure damage that we are going to have to restore, and plus of course livelihoods. And this is where we are also paying a lot of attention, especially in the agriculture sector. We are doing an assessment, because the cultivation season just started, both for paddy and for vegetables, and there's been a lot of damage to livestock as well. So all of these three areas is going to need support for a recovery and to get back on their feet. So in many ways, I think the government structure, the public sector, really stepped up at this moment and have been working flat out since day one in order to minimize damage, but also make sure that all the systems were in place to offer support to everyone, everyone who's been affected. Coming weeks, I think one of the biggest challenges we are going to face is also effective coordination. And I think that's going to be really necessary, that the relief efforts and the recovery efforts are first based on assessments and proper data and evidence, but also that the relief efforts are coordinated as effectively as possible, so that we do not duplicate efforts, and that we are also not that we are also cognizant of local structures and the local systems in place, and that we use those as much as possible for relief and recovery efforts as well. As you know, there's a well-established system structures from the central government right down to the local government structure, which have been very effective so far. And and also those local government structures know the local conditions and context intimately, those officials. And we would really like if all relief and recovery efforts also draw on that experience and knowledge when delivering whatever services and projects that we are going to think about in the future, and that we really do our best to learn from past recovery efforts. I'm particularly reminded constantly of what happened post-tsunami, so that we don't make those same mistakes where there was so much duplication and wastage of resources. I think we really need to make sure that that the relief and recovery efforts are also really well coordinated, and the government is again discussing ways in which we can support that coordination more effectively.
Giving me this opportunity. The cyclone Ditwa has caused unprecedented devastation across Sri Lanka, impacting all 25 districts and disrupting lives, livelihoods and critical infrastructure on a scale far greater than the geographic spread than the two. Advance into the Rapida, and today we are here.
Then the affected families, 51,900, and so far is 63. We confirm that at the ground and the National Relief Research Organization data. So the health facilities, 297 affected due to this landslide and the flooding. Time and Putlam, that the Dadruoya is the most reason for this, the downstream of Dadruoya. Dadruoya flood water is very high, so that the Putlam, Gampa and Kalambu, these are the flood affected area. Based on the population exposed, as per the Rapida, 2.3 million, I informed that much of people affected. Among them, that 1.2 million female and then male, like that we categorize all these things. So 2.3 million people exposed, including 1.2 women and 533K youth and then 263K elderly people. So these informations are very much, as ma'am mentioned, that we have to decide how we have to plan the recovery based on the requirement in the field. Data, that means the secondary data available in our table, and images entire country, but when it comes to the right now 1 million hectares. So then all the education structure we use that the buildings exposed with the open street map. So the building exposed is that more than management and social protection also. We have to provide the essential agriculture input, including the fertilizers, particularly tools for the construction.
So they had a great time. So all the facilities were open for them, and of course the services were extended to them as we have promised. So there was no issue at all. And of course the Honorable Minister went on board and had a discussion, chat with them, exchange ideas, and they all gave a very positive feedback about their experience in Sri Lanka. Then in addition to that, we have charter flights coming from different countries, and those charters are continuing without any cancellations. And what we have observed is there have been a few cancellations from the last minute markets, like say for example India, because Kandy and Norelia to an extent those areas have got affected, but they are coming out of it. Yesterday I spoke to the chairman of the Norelia Hotels Association. All the hotels there are functioning. And also if you want to get to Norelia, you can use that road from Colombo to Girigathena, Avisavella, Hatton to Norelia. That is possible. Any type of vehicle can get to Norelia on that road. At the moment, only road that is really affected is the road from Kandy to Norelia in area called Ramboda and Gampola. Those areas are affected, yes. But there are alternative routes that you can take to Norelia.
We have hotels throughout the country, from Jaffna to down south. Today, our properties on the coastal areas, Maravilla to Paskuta, are all operating. Every hotel is operating, enjoying maybe 60 to 65% occupancy. Right now, we may have about 20 to 25,000 tourists in our hotels. Kandy, today I spoke, I have given videos. All hotels are operating. Norelia, certainly access is a problem, but all hotels are ready to welcome visitors. Hotels all have water, electricity, vegetables, food, fish. There is no lack of that. As the chairman mentioned, wildlife parks all are open. Cultural front, all the activities are open. Whale watching, dolphin watching, all that activities are now taking place, including Sigiriya, opened about 3 days ago. As Nalin mentioned, there are no cancellations, airline cancellations. There are normal baggage handling. Immigration is working as usual. Access, Nalin mentioned about few, but still there is single vehicular traffic allowed from Hatton to Norelia. Even Kandy is accessible in different areas. We can assure that Hotels Association is more than ready to welcome more visitors. We are already looking after the visitors who are already here.
It's a very useful point on tourism, and I'm sure that the French tourists will continue to come back to Sri Lanka as soon as we have all the information provided. I just would like to come back on the humanitarian assistance. My message is very simple. Reactivity, immediate reactivity is a key element. We really understand the need for good coordination.
And site and more than 2,000 German tourists show that this embassy never issued a warning, but information, and I joined those colleagues who said that we will need to continue to give that information. But German tourists are tourists tourists who like Sri Lanka. They are coming and they continue to come, and they come even in difficult weeks like this one.
So for countries who've also pledged assistance during the rescue phase, which we are now moving away from, if you could rethink that pledge into to sort of directing it towards the rehabilitation and recovery phase, we would be extremely grateful. And of course, with the reconstruction phase, we are really looking to the World Bank and the EU and the UN for the assessments that are currently underway. I understand that the World Bank is doing the emergency assessment, whereas the UN and the EU are looking at the more long-term assessment. So we really want to work closely with those agencies in making sure that our needs are properly identified and that we direct our resources correctly and in the best possible.